Okay, in this video, I am going to be going through the pros and cons of LinkedIn versus cold email for B2B outreach. So basically, the summary, if you don't want to watch this whole video, is email is best for scale, reach, and cost efficiency. So if you have a big target market and you want to reach the whole market and test really quickly, then cold email is probably your best bet. Whereas LinkedIn has a higher conversion per touch, so your reply rate is going to be higher. And this is because you've already got social proof from your profile um, and the context there, so people are more likely to trust you and actually reply. But the best overall approach is probably to use both. So you can use email to kind of fill the top of pipeline and reach the whole market at speed. And then you can use LinkedIn to either follow up or reach out to the people that you couldn't find valid emails for, and basically humanize and nudge the deals forward, because you really do need that trust point. Like when you cold email someone, a lot of the time they will check your LinkedIn profile as well. So you sort of need both. So here are the fundamentals for the channels. So how each actually works. So cold email, the reason why it's good is because you have massive reach across any industry. It's really cheap to scale your volume, so you can send 3,000 emails a day for a fairly low cost, and actually still be landing in the inbox. Um, and it's fairly easy to outsource quite a lot of the parts of the setup. So you can outsource a lot of like the technical inbox setup and things like that to save time. But the downside is there is a much lower percentage reply rate. So you're going to be getting around like 1 to 3%, maybe 5% if you're doing really well with your deliverability. But because of the sheer volume you're sending, you can still get amazing results with it, in terms of like the total interested replies you're getting. On the LinkedIn side, the reason why it's great is because you can have like credibility and trust built from your profile if you've got a good profile built. You can make it permission based by like mentioning things about stuff that they've posted. Um, and yeah, just I mean, the main benefit is just the trust side. Like once they see your profile, they know you're a real person. Whereas with cold email, it's more known for like phishing and things like that. But the biggest downside of LinkedIn is you're capped by the platform. So it's quite hard to scale the amount of volume. I mean, there are ways you can do that. You can buy like almost dummy accounts from other people, but obviously this type of stuff is kind of against LinkedIn's rules, and you are at risk of getting like shadow banned or kind of getting your account locked for a bit. So it is riskier to do that. So yeah, I think there is higher risk with LinkedIn, just because if you have 5,000 followers and you start doing crazy volume of outreach and you get your account banned, then that's a lot of value you've just lost and a lot of time building up that audience. So, volume limits and realistic KPIs. So, basically, these are the ballpark figures you can aim for. So, with email, a safe baseline is about 20 cold emails a day per inbox. And you can have about 3 inboxes per domain. So you can scale this as far as you want just by buying more domains and adding more inboxes. With LinkedIn, it's roughly 200 connection requests a week. And that's on a healthy account. So if your account isn't very old or you don't have loads of followers or a big history, you should probably be aiming for less than that and then kind of build up to it. Um, Reply rates with email, like I said, 1 to 2%, 5 up to 5% if you're doing really well. Um, and of those replies, like that you're hitting, you've got a good angle or offer when you're hitting around like 20% positive reply rate, but obviously you want to aim higher than that. When you got like a banger angle slash offer, you'll be hitting like 50% positive reply rate. And then LinkedIn, 10% reply rates, but you can get much higher. Um, and that's after the connection request. So the connection requests we usually hit like 20% acceptance. Um, but yeah, that's because you've got built-in social proof. So obviously the reply rate's going to be higher, but it's way less volume. Um, Costs and tooling, what actually adds up. So emails, each inbox is usually in the single digits, so around like $3 per inbox per month. Um, And then like in terms of automations and like sending platforms and enrichment, going to be at least $100, probably quite a bit more if you're actually doing cold email well, because you'll be doing personalization and things like that. But if you're just doing like basic cold emails, then you could probably get it down to like $100. But you can scale really quickly and quite cost effectively because you just buy more domains. You can just buy cheap domains and fairly cheap inboxes and just scale like that. LinkedIn, you'll probably need Sales Navigator, which is $100 a month, or more. It might have gone up by now. And then if you want to automate this, that's going to be like $70 to $100 a month as well for something like HeyReach. Um, and if you want to go multi-account, like I mentioned, where you buy other accounts, they'll be $20 to $100 each per month. And yeah, the setup and maintenance is a bit fiddly. But the scaling model is basically you can buy more human accounts. But yeah, it is riskier. And that is why I think I do prefer email for like testing and then seeing what works and scaling it as far as it can go. And then moving over to LinkedIn once I found that. So deliverability, links and attachments. So in email, links, images, heavy tracking, salesy formatting, spam words, all of that is going to be quite risky if it's in your first email. So first email should always be plain text and try and keep the copy short. And short is like below 75 words. LinkedIn's a bit different. Once connected, like links and short emails, short videos generally, they'll get seen. There's not really like a spam filter. It's a friendlier place for you to send like any assets you want to send. One thing with email though is once someone has replied on that second email, it's usually okay to send like links or images because the chances are they're going to get through the spam filter. It's that first email that's the riskiest. Um, so email, like the risk and account health, it's fairly complicated and quite high maintenance. So like you can have individual inbox reputations, you can have domain reputations, and basically I wouldn't bother like getting into the details of trying to fix domains if they've burnt out and you're landing in spam. You literally just need to replace them as quickly as possible, and that's kind of the game with email, is managing the infrastructure so that you're always replacing stuff that's burning. LinkedIn, your main profile is your best asset. So like make sure your profile is good, it's high trust, you've got case studies. But obviously that is riskier because like if you overdo the volume and you lose 10,000 followers, that's a lot of money you've just lost. Um, but you could obviously buy the other accounts and just run them, but it's a bit higher risk and quite a lot of effort. Um, so email fits when your TAM includes roles or industries that aren't very active on LinkedIn. But it also works when they are active on LinkedIn. Like you can pretty much contact anyone who's got an email address. But LinkedIn, I find, is quite good um, when like the buyers really care a lot about trust. Like I mean, cybersecurity companies are not going to reply to your emails, whereas they probably will reply to your LinkedIn messages. So there are, just purely because they trust the platform. So there are certain industries where the platform really does matter. But I'd say like use email, try and find as many valid emails for your entire TAM. And if you can't find them, then reach out to those people on LinkedIn so that you're making sure you're getting in front of your entire TAM and not just the ones that have valid emails. So pitch style and message strategy. LinkedIn is more for like, from what I've seen, it's more about like smaller messages. So you want to keep like your ICP very tight because you can't send as many messages. So you want to make sure that you're reaching out to like the best fits for you. And the messages you do send, you want them to be like fairly short because no one wants to read some long ass message in their LinkedIn DM that they have to scroll down to read. So we've seen smaller messages work well. You can also use like voice notes and stuff to make it more personalized, Loom videos, all of that. But yeah, I'd say like whatever's working in email, just use the same angle, but just make it shorter so that people don't have to scroll. Um, email, like I've got a ton of different email like copywriting videos, so you can go and watch them. But yeah, like in practice, keep it below 75 words, soft CTA, offer free value, so like Loom video or like free trial or some free work, and test out the different angles and pain points. Because if you have enough contacts, you should be able to test a lot of variations. And then the dual channel flywheel. So you kind of like contact the whole market with email. Anyone you can't find valid email addresses for, you contact on LinkedIn. And then you kind of use your LinkedIn as a trust builder. So like when someone replies interested in email, and then you follow up to try and book a call. If they don't reply, then you can then message them on LinkedIn as well and follow up there as well. So time budgets, you don't stall out. So if you've got like full time to work on this, then you can do probably split your time more towards the email side just because there's a lot of infrastructure. And then LinkedIn, probably spend like, I don't know, a couple hours a day just prospecting, manually prospecting whilst your automations are going at the same time. And if you only have like a small amount of time, probably start on LinkedIn because you don't have to do any warm up with inboxes. So you can just start prospecting straight away. Automation helps. But honestly, like nothing beats some manual prospecting on LinkedIn. Like just an hour a day of going through relevant people in your industry, commenting, liking, reaching out with like very personalized, very relevant messages. Like, I mean, AI can do a lot of the work, but it can't really get to that super high quality personalized prospecting yet. So definitely worth still doing that. Email is definitely easier to outsource and you can scale it a lot further. So KPIs at a glance, already mentioned these ones like reply rate, LinkedIn, reply rate, and like the costs. And yeah, the closing thought here is basically think of email as your high capacity highway and LinkedIn as your scenic route through the neighborhood where people already kind of know you. And you can kind of combine both of those things. So I start with email, and then if we find something that works, we scale it as far as we can. And then once we've scaled it as far as we can, we try and make it better. And then once we've made it as like the best it can be and it's scaled as far as we can, then we move over to other channels like LinkedIn and start to scale there as well. But yeah, the smartest move is to use both routes. So if you would like us to help out with any of this, we mainly specialize in cold email, but we also do LinkedIn as well. Then you can book a call with us, the link below. And this is specifically for B2B companies who are over 100K a month in revenue. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Check out the other videos on my channel for some more help around this. And other than that, thanks for watching.